My name is Steve Robbins. I'm a Master's of Accounting candidate from Southern Utah University. And today I'm going to be discussing Scenario 1, the age-old dilemma from Chapter 5 in the book Understanding Accounting Ethics. In this scenario, there are two key players. The first person is Suzanne Stryker. She's a newly hired staff accountant with the firm ACCT, and she was hired to participate in the audit of Easy Company. And her role is to check 60 files against 15 different audit criteria to assess the collectability of each file. The second key player is Will Smith. He's a senior accountant with the firm, and he performs a similar task as Suzanne. He just tends to check more difficult files. But there's some differences in how they're performing their jobs. First, Will, he is tending to leave on time every day and getting his work done within a 40-hour time frame, while Suzanne is staying behind in her work and is tending to work roughly around 80 hours a week. So Suzanne is basically wondering if she's doing something wrong. So one day after work, she meets up with Will and asks for some career advice. She basically, talks to him about her concern, just saying, Will, I understand that you have more complicated files, but yet you leave on time every day and you get your work done within 40 hours a week. I'm struggling and I'm staying behind in my work and I'm working 80 hours a week. What are you doing differently than I am to get your work done on time? So Will offers some advice. He says, first, the real risk assessment was completed by the audit manager and the partner, so there's no need to continue to have to do that work. And then next, he said that his work and her work is basically their main goal is just to make sure that the files look and the work papers basically look good. And then he also says to her, just make sure that you're getting your work done on time and within budget, because if you continue to work 80 hours a week, you could possibly lose your job. And so he additionally says to her, I'm not saying don't look at every file, just get your work done as quickly as you can. So after she's talking to Will, she's basically interpreting what he is saying is, I'm not looking at every file, I'm just doing a random sampling of some of the files and assessing my own risk assessment. So what should Suzanne do? And so I have several recommendations for her. And the first one is don't assume that Will is not performing his job correctly. He's a senior accountant. He's been with the company probably for a while, and so maybe he has just got his role down, pat, and has his, job processes down efficiently. While Suzanne is still newly hired and she's in a learning curve. And then next, I would suggest to her just to make sure that she is performing all the necessary steps in the audit. It's very important that she adheres to the 15 different criteria to maintain the credibility of the audit. And the next, bill for all the hours that she's worked. That can also lead to maybe some due diligence on her manager's side. First of all, maybe he can assess to see, she is newly hired, she's going to be in a learning curve. Does she need some help while she's learning the job? Or perhaps her workload is too much for her and he needs to be able to maybe assign some of his files to other individuals within a team. Or it could lead to an investigation on Will's side where maybe he isn't adhering to all those different criteria and maybe he isn't performing his job correctly. And then next, I would suggest to her to look for ways to help the process become more efficient. But while she's doing that, just to maintain that credibility and integrity of the audit. But most importantly, she should adhere to the professional work ethics and standards. So just to summarize, Suzanne had an ethical dilemma. And the best solution is just to adhere to those professional ethics and standards and to adhere to the 15 different audit criteria. Because if Suzanne does listen to Will's advice, it could lead to some adverse effects. First of all, if she's not following the different criteria, it could lead to the company losing credibility within the industry as well as the community, as well as developing a poor reputation, and which can result in losing clients and reducing the profitability of the company. And then second, she could lose her job. because she wasn't adhering to the criteria. So it's just not worth it. So lesson learned, it's just not worth lowering professional ethics and standards just to look good. And this scenario is a great scenario that can be applied to any business situation. Thank you.